Hey guys, Ryan Dement from Chasing Financial Freedom podcast. I hope you guys are having a great day. This week on the podcast, we have Alvin Narsey, and he is a business coach. I know he's originally from Australia, and I think we're in Germany now. Alvin, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. And yes, we are at this moment in southern Germany.
Awesome. So tell the listeners a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, sure thing. So basically, I used to buy and sell pharmacies in Melbourne, Australia. I was doing that for about 15 or 16 years or so and had a really good time doing that. My wife is from Germany. And during the pandemic, Australia, and especially the state I was living in, Victoria, or Melbourne is the capital, had one of the worst lockdown situation rules in the whole wide world. So we were severely locked down. We really couldn't go anywhere. You could only leave the house at one stage for an hour a day. You had to stay within a 3 kilometer or 5 kilometer boundary. It was really bad. And as such, my wife wasn't able to travel to Germany to see her parents. So we decided to mix it up a little bit. So she decided to quit her job. I decided to sell my business. And we thought we'd rent out the house, sell the cars, put a few things in storage, and come to Germany.
And how has that been going for you?
Really good fun. Like, one of my top values is freedom and adventure. And for me, at the moment, this is ticking all the boxes. So Germany is a really great base to travel the whole of Europe. And we've done fairly extensive trips and continuing to be doing, we're going to be doing some more, of course. Yeah, I love it. And it's a new culture. Germany, it's not what I expected. I, of course, am trying to learn the language, which is super fun, but it involves a bit of effort, but I'm working at it every day.
And are you a beer connoisseur?
Look, I am more of a wine connoisseur. However, all my friends in Australia love beer, and Germany is famous for beers, as you rightly said. So I'm learning slowly, and I think I have a proclivity for the darker beers. They tend to excite my palate a little bit more because I can relate more on a wine level to where the flavors are happening in my mouth. But yeah, it's a good education for beer and wine, both of it. It's all here, actually.
So I'll ask one more question. We'll get into the meat of the conversation. Are you guys planning to stay in Germany the rest of your lives, or are you planning to explore Europe or go back to Australia?
I don't know. We're freestyling at the moment. We, at the moment, are happy to have a base in Germany. We've got a home base here, and then we'll just see what happens, really. Yeah, the world is our oyster,
That's aw-
realistically.
that
Yeah,
that is awesome, and most people don't get to do that in a lifetime, and you get to do it over your whole life. But we were talking earlier about this, and it's digressing. We'll get into it, but it's amazing how we live our lives, and we complain about the things that we don't want to happen, but those things happen. But when you live a life of freedom and abundance, you get to experience life the way you want to. And it just makes you happy. And I don't know why we're so against being happy in today's society, culture, whatever. I don't know how you want to describe it, but it's not a 4 letter word. Happiness is truly, it's a great feeling.
absolutely. And it is our natural state. And we tend to overcomplicate it and allow stuff to get in the way and get caught up in the race of rats and all sorts of fun stuff. But yeah, I'm super privileged to be able to do this. I know I'm super lucky. But like I said, it's one of my highest values is freedom and adventure. So in everything that I do, so in the way I help clients and running business, etc. So I'm ticking all the boxes.
That's awesome. So let's get into your story. Let's start from the beginning. What got you into being a business owner and that travel, and we'll work our way backwards and how that gets you into where you're at today as a business coach.
Yeah, absolutely. So I studied in Melbourne, Australia as a pharmacist. I went to school, did my university, and as it's typical actually in Australia, like after you finish your university degree, it's a good thing to go and travel. So that's what I did. Traveled, came back, and I came back with a little bit more fire in my belly. Okay, now it's time to do something. So instead of work, I worked and I hustled my way into a business partnership, which was really fantastic with two older gentlemen who were my business partners. And once I got into business with them, we just started expanding the pharmacies, buying and selling a few. And I think about 10 years into that relationship, we decided to go our separate ways. And I was running my own pharmacy on my own, and they had theirs, and just continuing along with the journey. And along the way, I was able to travel lots, and really, it was really instilled in me through the coaches and the mentors that I worked with in building my business that a business is meant to provide you with what you want out of life and not be a slave, and you not be a slave to the business. So I was very fortunate and I was able to live that life. And then, of course, the pandemic came. It was a great time to be in pharmacy, great time to have a pharmacy business, super busy. And it was a really good time to sell. So I sold and we decided to come here.
So what did the pandemic change in the pharmacy business in Australia?
Yes. Absolutely. It was pretty frantic because everyone was obviously and rightfully so concerned about their health. People were also, I had at that time a suburban pharmacy, so out in the burbs. And in Melbourne, anyway, the whole central business district, where a lot of the corporate types weren't able
Mhm.
to go in to the office buildings. As a consequence, people were working from home, the burbs, everyone's coming to our pharmacy. So the business, foot traffic, everything went up. So just as a matter of function, really, thanks to the pandemic. And then we obviously had to innovate very quickly to deal with the increased number of clients, but also this whole changing situation with the pandemic, limiting the amount of people in store. We had all these regulations, and people, if you were sick, rightly weren't coming into the pharmacy. So we had to quickly ramp up our delivery services. Also, there was the issue of scripts, prescriptions. The paper prescriptions were getting really dangerous because I'm not sure if I'm sure you remember there was that whole deal like you couldn't touch paper or mail or anything.
Yes.
So
Yes.
so we had to quickly, the whole pharmacy industry had to quickly develop electronic prescriptions and so on and so forth. Yeah, it was a good time. And at one stage, there were lockdowns in Melbourne and in the whole of Australia, actually. And not every business could open. But because pharmacy was a healthcare provider business, an essential business, we were classified as, we were open. And of course, you don't just sell drugs in Australia. You sell a lot of auxiliary products, makeup, perfume, over the counter stuff, vitamins. We were just very fortunate in that respect to be able to help people out and I guess capitalize on the pandemic.